that is a run you've got to lick your chops at there. I look at this bye as almost a chance to reset, fix those things like you pointed out to, and give you almost a second start to the season here because you saw your guys in real deal action. You know what you got to fix, and you're early enough that you're not just desperately plugging holes and trying to survive to the end of the season. Maybe you can make, some tweaks and really fix some of that stuff a little bit different. I don't know. Maybe that's glass half full way of looking at an early bye week, but this is big because those games coming up, that's a huge stretch and an opportunity. I mean, you could come out of the end of that realistically, I think no worse than 5-3. I guess 4-4 if you really stumble on one of those games there on the road or something. But I mean, 5-3 through the first half of the season is a hell of a lot better than people thought when they were predicting and projecting this thing out.
Well, yeah, you could say that. I think this team has a long way to go, as Jerry Reed said in Smoking the Bandit. We got a lot of boogieing to do. And so you can't sit back and, kind of forecast your wins, because the one thing I know about the National Football League is when you think a team will win, you know they'll lose. And when you know a team will lose, you think they'll win. It's that way all the time. So I think Cleveland has to, again, play clean football and play good, clean defensive football, play physical, fast, angry defensive football, and not make any mistakes along the way. If they do that, like I said, they'll be well on their way to becoming one of the better teams in the National Football League this year. Because when you look at the division, I don't know what Cincinnati and Cleveland is going to look like, but Cincinnati is probably in the top 5 teams in the NFL. So I would guess that even though the Cincinnati is that good, that the rivalry that these two teams have with each other, the familiarity that they have with each other, I think that will go a long way to helping Cleveland bridge that gap, so that that'll be a closer game, or a game that Cleveland can win, as it traditionally is. So when you look at this division, the AFC North, you don't see a big gap between, the 4 teams. You just don't see it. Baltimore could have easily come in here and lost a game. Well, they did. They could have easily lost the game. Pittsburgh could have easily lost that game. And then the Bengals coming up later in the season, once you take, you said, those other weak teams, the Titans and, whoever else is on the schedule, and they're not a problem mentally. But I will say I saw that, I think I saw that Sunday, I think I mentioned that I saw the team, or maybe it was the previous Sunday in the win against New Orleans. I've seen the team start to turn the corner mentally. Like, they lost on Sunday, but it wasn't devastating. They lost on Sunday, but it was plausible. They lost on Sunday, but it was explainable. It was correctable. So I see the team turning a corner where they go, yeah, you beat me, but you won't beat me again like that. So that's I think the highest point of competitiveness. That's where you are when you go into somebody else's stadium and you say, okay, so what? Let's do this. That's your attitude in playing football. I played football, my whole young life. I played in high school. I played for a while in college. The thing you understand about playing football is, no matter how good you are, you have to compete. You're not going to let the guy across from you beat you. So I think the Browns are starting to get there. They're starting to understand that they first and foremost have to compete. And that's the reason why the bye for me is ill-placed, because I do not want to see their momentum, their mental mindset dissipate. Win or lose, that's all right. It is what it is. but we're going to compete. So basically what you're saying to the best teams when they come to your house or when you go to their house, we're going to play. And whether you beat me or not, you better have a lunch packed, period. Now, what can we do from there? That's the same attitude that you have day-to-day in life. You know, if you don't have it, your family's going to starve, and you're going to be a sad puppy. So the Cleveland Browns have that attitude cooking right now. I think more guys have it than don't. And once those guys that don't have it, and the whole team is infused with that, we can win anywhere, anytime, against anybody, then this team will have turned the corner, and it doesn't matter who they play. And that's what this bye, whether coming out of it or going into it, that's what this bye has to be about for Mike Pettine's guys.
You know, I'm with you. Looking at coming out of it and going on the road there. They haven't been on the road since the first game there with Pittsburgh, and we saw how it started. And then they've had the comforts of home and the good home atmosphere, which everybody that I've talked to that's been there, media and fans, have said it was a negligible atmosphere. I mean, yeah, you had excitement before, but it was different, much more measurably exciting the last few games because I think the fans actually believed that they were cheering for something and maybe making a difference by their noise. But, you know, that's how you create that. But they had the comforts of home. Now you get the bye. You got to go on the road, regardless of how Tennessee's played the last couple of weeks. They're going to be looking to get off the schneid, too. They're looking to get their season righted. So, you know, can you go on the road? How do you go back on the road and respond and with a week off and all of that? I'm always interested in how teams respond after the bye anyway. Some teams are lull, some teams are fired up and ready to go, but now you're going back on the road, and I think it's a measuring point, regardless of how the game plays out. For all of us, I think it's a measuring point of where they are, because you get to look, they started on the road, they started really poorly, couldn't come back fast enough in the second half. How do you start this game? How do you attack the Titans? How do you come out of the bye on the road in a hostile environment and show the growth 3 weeks later from this team? That's kind of really what I'm looking to see out of that Titans game.
Yeah, I think they'll play better coming out. Just some rustiness coming out to begin with. I think they'll play better in Tennessee than they did the last time they played against the Ravens in Cleveland, due to the fact that when you go on the road, there aren't the distractions. You know, wife at home, mother-in-law has issues, you got to get tickets, you know, barbecues at the house. It's just all kind of stuff that you have to deal with. Same thing as us, you know, when we're home and working, and you know, you got to take the kids to school, and you got to go shopping. You got the honey-do list. Well, they have the same thing. They have the same things, and so when you go on the road, you are more focused on your job. There are no distractions. It's like when I used to go to ESPN on the weekends, sometimes my family would go, sometimes they didn't. If I went by myself, I could fly up, I could relax, I could, you know, do what I had to do when I get there. I'm focused on being on the air. That's all I'm thinking about. But when they go, man, it's shopping trips and sightseeing trips, and we're going shopping and blah, 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 blah. So when we take you to the ESPN Center and campus, and we'll be back at this, it's just different. So I think these young men will go on the road and take care of their business. Now, I want to stress, win or lose, they should be able to compete to the degree and level that they have to win. And we'll get into the game next week. But I don't see the Tennessee Titans as a daunting task. Developing team like the Browns, but not a daunting, unwinnable, untenable assignment in Knox Vegas.
No, I agree. Yeah, like you said, we'll get into the specifics next week. But, I just got this while we were on the air. Jonathan Knight sent me this tweet. I know you'll appreciate it. A lot of the people listening. 25 years ago today was the Browns, Eric Metcalf, that crazy two-hop sideways deal on Monday Night Football, part of his 1989 highlight reel. That was 25 years ago today. Boy, I cannot wait until we're looking at these Browns like we looked at those Browns, man, because here we are 25 years later throwing up the clips going, oh, man, you remember that? I remember watching that on Monday Night Football.
Well, you know what? I've seen so many games, I don't quite remember that one. Besides, I wasn't in Cleveland then, but I remember those times, and it was a great time to be a Cleveland Browns fan. Because in 1989, I believe, I think that's when are you alluding to 89?
89, yeah, 89.
Yeah. That I expected. I may have been in South Carolina, but I was trumpeting the Browns as the upstate's home team, the upstate of South Carolina. That's how good they were. But it didn't turn out that way. We had a injury-riddled, injury-filled season. And that season, by the way, I thought that Marty Schottenheimer did the best job of his career. Was that Marty Schottenheimer? No, that was Bud Carson.
That was Bud Carson year. Yeah, 51-0 opening day.
Started well, 51-0,
yep.
And ended with a thud with the injuries. Yeah, but they made the playoffs, and that was the last team, as you know, to beat the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. That was the last thing.
Yeah, you're right. When Clay Matthews had the interception
other
at
than
the goal
in
line.
The Super Bowl.
I remember that game. That was the game they upended Don Beebe, that clip that stayed for 2 decades in the NFL clips until they stopped showing head injuries like that, where he literally bounced off the top of his helmet during the tackle. And then Matthews made the interception at the goal line to seal that thing. I remember when Jim Kelly was driving him down. Yeah, good times. I just can't wait till we get to an era where our kids can talk about their Browns the way we can talk about the Browns of previous days. Plus, man, if the Browns really... Look, I don't know what the ceiling or bottom is on this season, but if the Browns can put together a competent season, man, I mean, this is one of them rare times where the Indians are finishing up a winning season. The Cavaliers apparently are going to have a winning season and some, hopefully. The Browns, I mean, this could be one of those rare times where all 3 teams are kind of rolling at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that's good times for Cleveland sports fans. We'll see how it ends up, but not bad on the surface.
Nope, absolutely. Kendall, enjoy the weekend. No Browns, but there's a lot of NFL games on the slate in high school and college and Ohio State and Cincinnati. We'll catch up Thursday, and we will set the stage for the Titans and the restart of the Browns season as early as it is.
That means I'll enjoy it more because there's no Browns football to stress over.
We definitely won't be talking about a Browns loss next week, so we're good there.
Oh, no.
All right, Kendall, have a good one. We'll catch up next week.
All right, J-Rock. Take care, man.
All right, and you guys can, of course, tweet with him at the BSK Says. Kendall Lewis, he's with us every Thursday talking Browns football. Really glad to have him a part of the show. We're going to take a break. When we come back after the news, Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTryWinLastNight.com is going to join us and just put up a stopwatch and see how long it takes me to say the word playoffs and make a mental note of every time I jab at him with the word P word. I'm not even going to say it. I'm just going to jab at him from time to time. This should be fun. Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTryWinLastNight.com joins us next. We'll talk Corey Kluber. We'll talk about Michael Brantley, Terry Francona, loving that bullpen, and so much more. Talking Tribe with Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTryWinLastNight.com after the news coming up next.
We here at the Sports Fix want to make all of your dreams come true.
What about my dream?
Edith, I told you I can't build your candy house. It will fall down. The sun will melt the candy. It won't work.
It will if it never rains.
Oh, maybe not all of them. Get your fix on the Sports Fix.
This is head coach Gary Waters at Cleveland State, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your automotive car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. They're open late Monday through Thursday until